Welcome to another dreadful side quest where we dive into some of the world's strangest and dark topics and or stories. My name is Vlad, and today we're going to be talking about haunted objects. Today we're going to be talking about haunted objects, a very famous topic in the paranormal community. That's where we got some of our most famous horror movies. Chucky, Annabelle, Robert the Doll. Yes, he has his own movie. If you know who Robert the Doll is, you're probably shocked that he has his own movie. It's not very good. It's really bad, but it's a movie. I mean, it's a haunted doll movie. What I'm saying is haunted objects have inspired many people to make their own content, movies, books, and the line kind of just keeps going from there. And I thought it would be interesting to dive into a few of the world's most haunted objects, because why not? There's a few very interesting ones that we're gonna go over. Some might even say they're a little bit strange. But without further ado, let's begin the video. Now, the first object we're gonna talk about today is called a Diic Box. You might have heard of these things. It's basically a box that revolves around, I believe it's voodoo, and there's a lot of cursed objects inside this box. Apparently, if you open it, a demon's gonna come out and kill your whole family. And better yet, there's people selling these on eBay. Hold up, YouTube video idea. Halloween's coming up in 2 days, and I just had a golden plan. I'm gonna buy like 20 million Diic boxes and just hand them out to the kids on Halloween. They're gonna be like, oh, what is this? I'm gonna be like, don't you worry about that. They're gonna go home, they're gonna open the box, and they're gonna pull out like a mutilated chicken. And then, you know, the demon's gonna come out and kill his whole family. Then he's gonna go up for adoption, and that's gonna become a whole story. I have a really screwed up mind sometimes. But anyway, according to Jewish folklore, a Diic is a dark spirit that takes over the bodies of living people and uses them for evil. Legend has it that a Diic can be trapped inside of a box and prevented from causing mischief, unless the box is opened. So yeah, basically what I told you, there's a demon in this box, you open it, the demon comes out, kind of like a screwed up genie in a bottle in a way. Several years ago, the Diic box came up for sale on eBay. The seller listed a vintage wine cabinet that came from the estate of a woman who survived a World War II concentration camp. Good for her, that's a W. The seller, an antique dealer named Kevin Mannis, claimed that the first owner's granddaughter was terrified of the box, warning him that her grandmother said it held a Diic. After buying the cabinet, he was plagued by a series of unfortunate events and reoccurring nightmares of an old hag. That's a really rude way to call a woman, Jesus. That would brutally attack him, causing him to wake up with bruises on his body. He also experienced an overpowering stench of cat urine in his home. Tragically, his mother suffered a stroke while opening the box. Not surprisingly, he decided to get rid of it. So yeah, the guy opens this box. He has nightmares of an old hag attacking him. His mother has a stroke. Pretty spooky. It's all pretty spooky stuff. Do I believe in this? I don't know. Let's find out. The box eventually ended up in the hands of a Missouri Medical Museum director, Jason Haxton, who was skeptical about the powers attributed to the box. He soon changed his mind. After acquiring the box, he began to experience a series of medical issues, including bleeding eyes and strange rashes. You know what else causes bleeding eyes and severe rashes or whatever? Ebola. Like 50 million other diseases out there. This man could have been sick, I'm just saying. I know I sound like an asshole right now. I'm trying to be reasonable here before I'm like, yup, it's paranormal, like most ghost hunter YouTubers out there. Yeah, I like to sort out my options. The box was opened during the time that it was owned by Jason Haxton. He retrieved it from a burial site for a special appearance on his show, Deadly Possessions. He arranged to have the box placed in a containment room so that Kevin Mannis, the previous owner, could confront his fears about the box. That's such a shitty thing to do to somebody though. Like, this man went through it. He had horrible night terrors. His mom had a stroke. And then this man, Jason Haxton, is like, you know what I think's gonna be a really good idea? If we lock this man in a room with the thing that killed his mother. Genius idea. Let's see them big bucks rolling in now. My TV show's a hit. Not only did it kill his mom, but it might kill him. The viewers are gonna love it. This is why I don't like ghost hunting shows and stuff like that. They're not genuine. They're not authentic. Neither are like a lot of YouTubers out there, but I'm not gonna rant about that right now. When Kevin opened the box, the lights in the building started to flash. Strange sounds were heard, and strangest of all, Kevin turned to face a wall, and he got a very weird expression on his face. His voice changed, and he started to recite a story about a shadow man. He then started speaking in tongues and making bizarre whistling sounds. He was sweating profusely and began to cough uncontrollably. Yup, Jason, you nailed it. You nailed it. This is gonna be a hit on probably the Discovery Channel or something that nobody watches anymore. This all really feels like false advertising for something. Because listen, this could just be me talking here, but if I had a box that gave me uncontrollable night terrors and then killed my mom, I probably wouldn't be like, all right, you know what, let's do round 2 here. Let's do round 2. Lock me in that room with this box that killed my mother. I probably won't say that if I'm a sane human being. I feel like this is a little bit fake. That's tragic and all. If the man was truly possessed, I'm sorry. That must suck. I don't know what that's like, and I can't even imagine it. But moving on, I hope you're excited because the next object we're gonna be talking about is called the Devil's Rocking Chair. Yup, it's a rocking chair, possessed by the devil. In 2019, a man purchased another macrame object for the Haunted Museum, dubbed the Devil's Rocking Chair. It is of unknown origin, but was passed on to the Glatzel family in the early 1950s. It was simply a piece of household furniture until the summer of 1980 when it became the center of a tragedy that struck a family. The sinister relic became part of one of America's most notorious exorcisms, which involved 2 demonic possessions and an eventual murderer. It is believed that the chair, quite literally, was cursed by the devil. Here's something I need to point out. So there's all these demons, right? Possessing all these objects, dolls, chairs, boxes. And it's like, are they just avoiding the work that they have to get done of possessing a human? Why don't you just skip that? Why don't you just possess the human, pretend he's still himself or herself for a little while, and then just kill everybody in the household? I'm assuming that's your goal. Why? Why? Like, I doubt a demon of all things is gonna be like, all right, I gotta take over this human's body, but I need a way in first. The demon's just like looking down the family. Should I possess the daughter? I don't think so. What about the mom? Not a good idea. What about the dad? Too much work. You know what I want to possess? A chair. It makes no sense to me. It makes no sense. Why not just possess the person you're trying to possess in the first place instead of a chair? The horror began in July of 1980 when David Glatzel, 11 years old, became possessed by a demon after sitting in the chair. See, that's what I'm talking about. Why didn't the demon just go straight into the boy? Why didn't he just go straight into the boy instead of having to wait for this kid to sit down on this chair? It makes no sense to me. Just get it over with. If you're gonna kill a family, get it over with. One night, he woke up screaming, claiming that he'd been visited by a man with big black eyes and a thin face with animalistic features, jagged teeth, pointed ears, horns, and of course, hooves. David was, everyone agreed, not the kid to usually like scary movies or who was likely to make things up. He was visibly shaken by his experience. He became withdrawn and quiet. His older sister, Debbie, asked her fiance, Arn Johnson, if he would stay up with her family for a while and see whether or not it would help David get out of his depression. Okay, so now you got a depressed little boy. Ain't that great? Arn, of course, agreed, but things did not get better. David reported more nightmares about the terrifying man who promised to take his soul. Odd scratches and bruises began to appear on the boy, and all the injuries seemed to happen while he was asleep. Odd sounds, which Arn couldn't explain, were heard in the attic, and worst of all, David began to claim that he was now seeing the beast while he was awake. He was always seen sitting in the family's rocking chair, which the beast now claimed as his own. Sorry, I just had like an image in my head of like a demon going up to this rocking chair, doing that little spin that dogs do before they pee, and then peeing on the chair and being like,
"It's mine now. It's not yours. If you sit in it, I'll kill you and your family."
The family brought over a priest to bless the house. This didn't help. In fact, it made things worse. The sounds in the attic got louder, David's visions increased, and he began to hiss at the family and speak with multiple voices. That just sounds like a furry in middle school or something like that. That's not a demon. During the night, someone had to stay up and watch David, who woke up every 30 minutes, sometimes having seizures. Were you expecting more from that story? That's too bad, because for some reason the article just cuts off there. We don't know if David's dead or not. My goodness, what an abrupt way to just end that. I'm calling fake on the chair though. Ooh, now this next one is gonna be fun because it's one of the most famous dolls in all of paranormal history. Not Annabelle, but second in line, Robert the Doll. He's pretty infamous. You've probably heard of Robert the Doll. If you haven't, it's a cool story. It's very creepy. I'll give it to them. They put on a good story for this one. The life-size straw doll had been a birthday present for Robert Eugene Otto, or Gene as his family called him. It was given to him by his grandfather, who bought it while he was on a trip in Germany in 1904. Dressed in one of Gene's sailor suits, the doll became his favorite toy. He took it everywhere and began calling it Robert after himself. Soon, things became a little strange. The story says that the Ottos and their servants would often hear Gene in his bedroom having conversations with himself in two different voices. On many occasions, the family was awakened in the middle of the night by Gene's screams, only to find the frightened boy in bed, surrounded by overturned furniture and scattered toys. Gene claimed that it was Robert who had messed up his room. This guy looks creepy though. Like, this is an old doll. Like, he really looks old. He's holding a little dog or something in his little sailor outfit. That's the true face of evil if I've ever seen it. When things were moved about the house and when toys were broken or lost, Gene always stated that Robert did it. And while his parents didn't quite believe the boy, they were unnerved by the strange events and bothered by stories told by the servants of hearing small footsteps and laughter in the house when it should have been completely empty. People who have passed by the Otto house in Key West, Florida, have claimed to see the doll staring out the window at them. When Gene left the home to study art, Robert was moved to the attic where he remained for many, many years. See, that's another thing about, here I go again, by the way. That's another thing about demons possessing dolls, because that's exactly where this is going. And Annabelle, a pretty good comparison. For some reason, the demon feels the need to possess the doll before it can go and possess an actual human. Again, why the demon doesn't just go out and possess the human from the start, I'll never understand. I'll never understand that. I want to know why. I feel like someday on the channel, I need to buy a Diic Box. Just open up the box and the demon's gonna come out. I'm gonna film it on my camera. We're gonna do a nice little interview. I'm gonna ask him all these questions. Kind of like The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. Just really fucked up. Robert stayed in the house when it was sold to Myrtle Reuter, who owned it for the next 2 decades. Those who passed by the house always saw Robert looking out of the second-floor turret room window. Today, Gene's former residence operates as a bed and breakfast called the Artist House, and visitors can even stay in the old turret room. Robert the Doll isn't there anymore. However, he now lives at the Fort East Martello Museum, safely locked away in a glass box that has been outfitted with alarms. Why? Why do you need alarms for this doll? Yeah, because he's gonna break the glass case he's in and then he's just gonna run away because that's what they do. You know, your common doll possession. Now, Annabelle is on this list, but I'm skipping her. I'm skipping her ugly ass because that's gonna be a different video. Yep, sorry Annabelle, you're gonna have to wait because the next story we're gonna talk about is the painting of Bill Stoneham. I gotta say, I've been very skeptical of all these stories. I've been an asshole. You're dealing with one of the biggest ones in the world. So thought I'd throw that out there. I don't try to be. I just try to find the logic behind things. I believe in the paranormal very heavily. I'm always going out and ghost hunting at asylums, that kind of stuff. I believe very strongly in the paranormal. But a lot of haunted objects, it would make sense that it's a form of revenue people are trying to make. Zach Bagans, I don't know how to pronounce this man's name. He's not a good guy. If you know of a ghost hunter who looks up to Zach Bagans, you're probably dealing with somebody who's probably just faking a whole personality for whatever ghost hunting show or YouTube channel they're doing. He's not a good guy. There's a lot of videos out there about what this man has done. He got a whole paranormal TV show canceled because he was petty. What happened was, some of his friends that he worked with for a very long time, you probably know them from Destination Fear, they were friends with Zach for a really long time, and then one day they decided to go make their own paranormal TV show. Well, Zach didn't like that one bit. In fact, what he did was so petty that it got Destination Fear canceled. He saw that they were gonna go out to make their own ghost hunting show. He saw that it was good and that it was starting to become popular. He didn't like that one bit, because since he saw that their show was getting popular and stuff like that, he decided that it was gonna take away popularity from his show. So he started making up rumors and all this bullshit that got Destination Fear canceled because he was scared that it was gonna take away from his little viewers, his little audience. And that's just one thing out of like a million others that Zach has done that's really petty and just disrespectful. So if you know somebody who looks up to Zach Bagans, I'm so sorry for you. I really am. I've been ranting a lot this video. Let's talk about this haunted painting. No one could have known that a photograph that was taken of Bill Stoneham when he was 5 would go on to become one of the most famous cursed paintings in history. At the time, Stoneham's father was in advertising and did a lot of traveling. His family was staying at his grandmother's apartment in Chicago to save money. The place was so small that Bill had to sleep on a mat in a closet filled with coats and dresses. The average American sleepover. He regularly played with a little girl from the neighborhood, and one day, his parents had both kids pose in front of a glass door for a photo. They couldn't have known that 2 decades later, Stoneham would turn the ordinary photograph into a terrifying painting that has become the stuff of internet legends. In 1972, Bill's first wife, Rowan, wrote a poem called The Hands Resist Him. It was about Bill's experiences of being adopted and never knowing his biological siblings. At the time, the couple lived in California, and Bill was under contract with the art gallery's owner, Charles Feingarten, to produce 2 paintings each month for a fee of $200 each. This man was making bank. With his next deadline approaching, he used his wife's poem and the old photo of himself with the neighborhood girl as an inspiration. Stoneham called the painting The Hands Resist Him, and he turned it over to Charles Feingarten for a large gallery show in 1974. So yeah, this guy took his painting to the art show, and then once the art show was finished, he racked up that cash, you know, as the artist does, and then his wife died. Now, most theories go to show that the wife went into this painting. People see the little people on the painting moving around sometimes. Different objects in the painting will shift around and move every day. Stuff like that. You know, haunted painting kind of stuff. His kids claim that the boy and the doll in the painting were fighting and coming into their room at night. Okay, I've heard about this painting before, but I didn't know shit was actually leaving the painting and like traumatizing these kids. Oh my, that's rather scary. One night, Stoneham, the dad, set up a camera to show them that they were just being imaginative. And of course, there was nothing to be afraid of. Instead, what he saw was the boy crawl out from the painting. He quickly put the painting up on eBay with a disclaimer. See, it's a cheap way to make money. That's what haunted objects are, a cheap way to make money. If that happened to me and my kids, I wouldn't wish that kind of terror on anybody else. The first thought to come to my mind is not, you know what would be a great idea here? Let's put it up on eBay so some middle-aged mom can be like, oh, look how pretty this painting is. It'll go perfect in little Charlie's room. Boom. The mom buys the painting and little Charlie's in therapy for the next 20 years, claiming that there's a boy crawling out of this painting in his room. I got really heated there for literally no reason whatsoever. I don't know what came across me. Maybe it's a haunted object. Maybe the demon came out and thought, it's Vlad's turn. I'm gonna possess him to kill his whole family. I might even end up on your true crime podcast in the future. But But yeah, those are all my kind of little haunted objects that I wanted to go over today, but I feel like there's a pattern. It all seems to revolve around money. That's why I think these things are fake. I'm not saying they're fake to be an ass. I'm saying they're fake because I'm seeing all these little things pointing to the fact that they're fake. Every single one of these ended with the guy selling it for a certain amount of money or getting some sort of profit off of all of these haunted items. The Diic Box was sold to the museum for quite a bit of money. Robert the doll got sold off to another museum for, I think they made around 400K because of that one doll, all because of the story. The painting, as you just read, the man just sold it on eBay for literally anybody to get. And I know for a fact a lot of people don't read the descriptions of items on eBay and stuff like that, because you're shopping on eBay. Why would you? You're not gonna find anything good. God, I hope a poor innocent mother didn't buy that for her kid's bedroom or something like I mentioned before. That would really suck for the family. But nonetheless, it's still fun to read about these things. It's still fun to let my little imagination go wild. I really feel like I should make a video where I just get a bunch of haunted objects and we review them, and I do like a little vlog over the next few weeks on if anything spooky happened. I feel like we should test our boundaries a little bit. Let's get out there and explore the world. And by that I mean potentially having a demon come into my house and like slit my throat or something, but it's for a YouTube video. I'll do it. If it gets me those views, hey, what's a little bit of demonic activity, am I right? But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I have the feeling a bunch of people are gonna go on eBay now, whoever sees this video, and just start buying as many haunted objects as they can. Please don't do that. While I was making fun of this stuff, if for whatever reason it's real, I don't want y'all to get possessed. That's just my 2 cents. It ain't something that you want to look forwards to in life. It's probably one of the things that'll make you go to hell. If you buy some cursed object, there's a demon inside, the demon's gonna drag you to hell. Or maybe you're not very religiously conscious, that's why the demon decided to possess you, and that's why you're going to hell. Or maybe you had sex before marriage. I'm kidding. Yeah, I don't script anything in these videos besides the history, so sometimes I just think of something, I say it, and I hope for the best. But aside from my very screwed up mental state, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something new about something spooky, and I will see you guys next time.